So thank you guys so much for joining us on Wisdom Wednesday. My name's Zach Richmond. This is
Marla Smolke.
That's right. That's my mother-in-law. So we are Richmond Realty, REMAX, the Woodlands in spring. There is a saying. They say, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
What does that mean?
Anyways, moving on to Wisdom Wednesday. Hey, thank you guys so much for your submissions yesterday on Think Tank Tuesday. We had some great responses. We got 4 questions. We're going to actually, since it's our first edition, we're going to answer all of them. We might not answer 4 every time, but we just felt like since this is our inaugural, wouldn't hurt. So one of the questions we received was from Matt. Matt asked a great question. He said, how does South Montgomery County compare this year to last year? Great question, Matt. We get asked this all the time. So comparatively, last year was a good year. The previous year before that was even better. This year we did see some slowdown in the market, but what we did have was a natural disaster, and that kind of made this year abnormal. So at one point we reached the highest inventory levels we've had in 3 years in South Montgomery County. However, now we're at one of the lowest inventories we've had ending the year. So now at one point there was over 1,000 homes listed in the Woodlands. Now there is only 800. So compared to last year, there's about 6% less inventory on the market than there was previous year. So good question. If you want any more details on it, feel free to give us a call. Love to answer it. We get it all the time. Second question. Mars, what was the second question?
The second question comes from John. And he says, what type home, in your experience, have you sold the most of? Whether it's modern or country or Tuscan? And do you think there's a certain type that sells? In the Woodlands, you have a lot of Mediterranean homes and traditional homes. You don't have as many contemporary homes. Contemporary homes are sort of a hot item right now. And they will be snatched up off the market if you have one to sell. However, the one important note is that one-story houses are right now very hot items, and especially if they're updated.
So the look doesn't matter as much as what the structural is.
That and if you've done a few updates, and yes, if the bones of the house are good, then you're in good shape.
Good to know. Also, open floor plans. That's a hot item too. So exterior doesn't matter as much. What's inside is actually making a bigger difference today. Great question. We had another one. It came from a law enforcement employee. It was actually a close relative of mine, Joanna. She asked a very interesting question, and we're getting a lot of buzz about it, but it's really not that odd of a question. We get asked it whenever we're showing homes. Did somebody get murdered in this house, or what happens if there is a death in the house? So that's out of my realm. I'm going to let Marlos handle that one. She's better on the legalities than I am. So.
And Joanna actually specifically asked if a seller has to disclose if a murder takes place on the property. And the short answer is yes. But for a little bit more detail, I'll tell you that the Texas Association of Realtors Seller's Disclosure Notice asks sellers a specific question, and that question is, are you aware of any death on the property except for deaths by natural causes, deaths by suicide, or deaths by accidents unrelated to property conditions? So what that tells you is that you do not have to disclose death by natural causes, suicides, or accidents not related to the property. However, murder does not fit in those categories. And so, yes, you have to disclose it. You have the option to elaborate in the paragraph below, but you don't have to.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. We actually get asked that a lot. So it is not an oddball question. That is actually a good question. So thank you, Joanna, for your submission. And the turkey was fantastic this year. So thank you. Last question we had, it came from a good friend of ours. His name's Jim. Jim asked, what's the best time in the Woodlands to list your home? Now, we probably get asked this one more than any other question. When do I need to sell my home? When do I need to list my home? Mars, what is the best time to list a home?
The hottest time of the year to list your home is late spring or early summer, because people who are relocating will wait and let their children finish school where their existing home is, and then in the summer they'll relocate so that those children can prepare for the next school year.
However, this year was an abnormal year because we had a natural disaster, Harvey. So for those of y'all that suffered flooding in your house, I'm super sorry. That's a tragic event, so I hope everybody's doing well. But what it did do is it did reduce the inventory we have in the market. So we have a lot of jobs entering this market. There's people starting to look right now, and so we're already starting to see pickup in sales. So right now there is low inventory. So in the Woodlands, I'd say now is a good time to list your home. It's counterintuitive, countercyclical. However, it just is what it is. So if you're ready to list your home, there isn't a bad time. And if you have any questions about getting your home listed and ready, give us a call. Thank you guys so much for your submissions. This was our first edition of Wisdom Wednesday. Expect more to come. Expect other great questions. Again, I'm Zach Richmond.
I'm Marla Smolke.
Richmond Realty, REMAX the Woodlands in Spring. We're rooted locally.
Rich in community.
Nailed it. Hey, you guys have a blessed one. Bye.